Welcome to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and today we're going to be talking with Skip Chaples, president of the nonprofit Music for Life. Thank you so much for joining me, Skip.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So we met last week at a United Way event, and you introduced yourself around a table of other nonprofits from Fairfax County, and I had never heard of you. But I am ecstatic over what your nonprofit is doing. So I hope you'll share with our audience exactly how this concept of Music for Life evolved and what you're doing in our schools.
Sure. Music for Life started in this area back in 2006, and we started rather a tragic beginning in that I'm also the scoutmaster of a Boy Scout troop, and one of my neighbors in Eagle Scouts was tragically shot and killed on February 25th, 2006. He was studying music at Nova at the time, and his parents wanted to do something to remember him that had to do with charity and music. So they had found an organization that was in San Jose, California that did that. We opened up a chapter of that organization here on the East Coast and were with them for several years. We slowly separated as the needs of the Washington area were different than their needs, and we grew apart. So in 2013, we changed our name to become Music for Life and an independent nonprofit. Our mission really is to go out and provide music education opportunities to low-income youth. We deal primarily with middle school and high school age kids. We do some programs for adults that are underserved in certain areas. We've done some adults with disabilities at a job training center for people with intellectual disabilities, and we run music programs for them. We support homeless in DC with Thrive DC, you may have heard of. They provide homeless services in DC. They were robbed last year, and among the things stolen were all the guitars they were using in a music program that they were running. So we provided them all new guitars and kept that program going. And this fall we'll be doing a partnership program with the Hilton Performance Center in Manassas with a program this fall for veterans and their families.
That is amazing. So from 2013, you've really expanded enormously, not just in the school system, but in lots of ways outside the school system. How in the world do you find your funding? I mean, every 501c3 is constantly looking for how to fund what they're doing.
We've been very fortunate. Right now, we funded under grants from Fairfax County, United Way, Diodario Foundation, Kiwanis, Rotary.
Oh, Rotary,
like yeah,
yes.
We get them all. We have a number of both local, national, and international music companies that support us. Our farthest one away is in Bavaria.
Wow.
Whitner makes all the musical timing things. They're a big supporter of ours. We have a lot of pro bono support. In the IT area, we get it from Deloitte Consulting. In the legal area, we get it from Paul Hastings Law Firm. In the financial area, we get it from Fitzgerald and Company. And we have a lot of individual donors.
That is amazing.
So we piece all that together to make this work.
Well, I'm astonished. Because like I said, a lot of nonprofits are constantly fighting that battle, but tell us about your volunteers. How do you find these folks? Who are these folks?
Well, up through 2016, we were an all-volunteer organization. In 2016, we finally got enough funds, we were able to hire our first full-time person. We get our volunteers just by having a booth at various festivals throughout the area. We go to music festivals and set up a booth where we pass out information, we raffle off a guitar, and we let people know when we find. There's a couple of music organizations for the amateur or semi-professional, however you want to, that level, the guys that you see playing in all the local clubs.
Right.
Called SAW, the Songwriters Association of Washington, and WAMA, the Washington Area Music Association. We're members of those and get tremendous support from them. So we have lots of venues out through the music communities in the local area to find people who can teach for us.
So your person that you've hired, I assume, is probably trying to coordinate all of these programs and schools. And
in the school section, she is. Yeah, she's finishing her master's degree in arts management at GMU.
Wow.
And
lucky you.
Yes, and coming in to do that.
So tell us a little bit about how you approach your schools. You said that basically, is there a method to your madness as far as what schools you look to partner with?
We have three programs we run. We have an after-school guitar program, which is what we started with. And this really is done in the neighborhoods. we actually go into low-income housing projects, foster care, group homes, places like that, set up lessons. We provide all the equipment, give it to them, teach the kids how to play guitar. When they learn to play, we award them their instrument to keep. They earned it. They stay with us learning more music, and they help us teach new kids coming in. So we're setting up guitar jams basically in low-income neighborhoods.
That's fantastic.
Our band and orchestra program and our STEM guitar program are in the schools. The band and orchestra program, we really got into that because we were getting a lot of kids coming into our guitar program who played other instruments. And they said, well, why did you stop? Why did you switch to guitar? And the primary reason was they couldn't afford the school program anymore. Band and orchestra has gotten very expensive in schools. There are fees and
Right, the instruments, even if you rent them.
rentals and uniforms
Right.
and competition fees and so forth. And the low-income kids were finding those difficult to meet. There is some federal assistance for that, but they still didn't cover everything. In addition to that, the band and orchestra teachers in school usually is only one, and they don't have enough time to provide any kind of individual instruction. They've got 40 kids and 15 different instruments. So if you're a child that needs a little more hands-on, and so what the teachers recommend them says, well, you should take private lessons to become proficient. Well, private lessons are very expensive in all of those instruments. So we found these kids were just being priced out. So we started the band and orchestra program. And we went to the major manufacturers of those things and worked some deals and some other things. And what we do is we'll cover their fees if they can't afford them. We provide them private lessons at school. We go into the schools and actually set up, and during the after-school period that they're there, and we actually teach them. So we've got kids learning oboe, clarinet, saxophones, trumpets, violin, flutes.
That's
got a
amazing.
percussion guy learning all those kind of things. And that's what we're doing. And we do that through the school year as part of the after-school program at the school. And we're also now continuing with some of the better students. We're actually giving them in-home lessons over the summer.
Oh,
So
that's
they can be
amazing.
all prepared for band camp, which is a week and a half away.
Right, yeah, I know, the famous band camp in August.
Right. So we do that. And the STEM Guitar Project, we met those folks at NAMM, which is the National Association for Music Manufacturers. We're a partner with them in advocating for music education. And we met some folks out there last year at their show in January of 2016. We met the folks who did the STEM Guitar Project. This was developed by faculty at Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio, under a National Science Foundation grant. And it was aimed at trying to get another type of vocational program into the schools that would attract a more diverse set of students. The problem we're having with both STEM and with skilled labor in the schools, getting people into those professions,
Right.
is that the curriculum is really aimed at the guy who wants to go to college, and he's pretty much already a tech geek when he joins the program at school. He's into robotics or he's into computer programming. And those are about your only options pretty much in the career technical education area and the STEM areas is robotics programs and computer
Right.
programming. And if you want more people in these fields, you've got to reach a broader audience of the student body. People who aren't already tech geeks, people who are not maybe familiar. So you need programs like STEM Guitar where there's a full curriculum and they develop this. It's online, the full course syllabus and stuff, and they actually have a one-week course where they train teachers at schools to run this program. They learn all the math and physics behind the design and operation of electric guitars. So you learn about tensioning strings and vibrating them and segmenting the length into notes. You learn about the electronics and how that vibration gets picked up and ends up coming out a speaker and into your ear. You learn that technology. And then they go into the laboratory and they build their own electric guitar.
That is awesome.
So they get to do some woodworking skills with their hands. They learn a little bit about that. They learn about some electronics. They have to solder the parts together. They have to put them in there, screw the whole thing together, string it, put the frets in, all those things, tune it up. And as they're doing this, they're learning why each piece is important and what its function is in the guitar. But it's all hands-on. And a kid who's been through that comes out of that program either with a better appreciation for the practical application of science, and they may want to go to college now and get a degree, or they come out of that with saying, you know, being the guy that builds this thing is pretty cool, and maybe the skilled labor path is the one for me. Maybe that's where I want to go in life.
You know, and that's the whole thing. We need to give students more options because in the old days it was VOTEC, and VOTEC was being a car mechanic or a plumber or an electrician, or you were college bound. That was
Correct.
it. And community colleges, too, offer such a variety of certification programs that bridge the gap between going from high school to a career or going from high school to college. There are other paths, and this is a great example. And I'm sure that must be a class a lot of people sign up for. I can't even imagine how excited people would be to sign up for that class.
We ran our first one at Mount Vernon High School this year, and we had 28
That's amazing.
in it. And some of the happiest ones were we had 3 women in the class,
Yay!
and they loved it. We have 2 very nice pink guitars they made.
Ta-da! We need more women playing electric guitars.
Yeah.
That's just my own opinion, but
But
I
it
do.
never occurred to them they could do something like that.
And that is the other benefit of this, isn't
And
it?
that was the other benefit. They didn't think they could pick up a rasp and shape the body of a guitar. They didn't think they could drill screw holes and shape the neck and the head to be what they wanted and feel good in their hand. And they just didn't think they could solder and electronics together. You know, the difficulty, especially in urban areas these days, is kids are growing up in a throwaway society today. They don't grow up in households where they're fixing things, repairing things.
Right, they're disposable. You
It
just buy
breaks, you
another
throw
one.
it away, and you buy another one. So they don't see that. And the result of that is they don't have the vision that skilled kind of jobs are quality jobs that they
Right.
could do. Because they sort of say, well, I'm supposed to have this nice professional job with a college
White-collar
degree
job, right?
in an office,
Right.
and I hire that guy to come over
Right.
and fix it or replace it. And they don't think about, maybe I should be the guy who does that, because those are very well-paying jobs.
They are.
And they're suited to a lot of people, because you get a lot of kids end up either not going to college and they're floundering, or they go to college and they get a degree that doesn't have much market value.
Yes, and then they can't find a job.
And they come
So
home
you've
and
gotta-
they
you've
live in
got-
their parents' basement.
Right, you've got a college degree but no real skills. And this is what we're talking about, is developing
Right.
skills, like what can
Correct.
you do?
Correct.
Well, I think this is fascinating, mainly because we're heading into another school year. And I want to hear more about how you find the teachers and what we can do to help teachers find you, and also about what you've made available on your website, because I think that's an important resource that you're offering to people who may not know that it's out there. So when we come back from this break, we're going to be talking with Skip Chaples of Music for Life about what they're doing in our public school systems and how you can be involved, either by being a volunteer, certainly by being a donor, but getting the word out about how important music education is in our public school systems. So please join us after this break. We'll be right back.
Me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and joining me today is Skip Chaples, who is the president of Music for Life. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So when we went on break, we were talking about the fact that you provide a lot of the resources on your website, which is musicforlife.org.
Correct.
So I'm interested in knowing how you find the teachers who are interested in bringing what you have to offer into their classrooms.
We find the teachers through outreach, through music organizations, where we belong to the Songwriters Association from Washington and the Washington Area Music Association, which is where most all of your amateur and professional musicians in the area belong to. They have 3,000 or 4,000 members. We belong to them, they get all our notices, they understand us, they support us, and we find a lot of teachers through there. And we also go out to community events that have music, things like the Columbia Pike Blues Festival, the Tinner Hills Blues Festival in Falls Church, the Tacoma Park
And
Street
there's a
Festival.
lot of local festivals around
There's
here.
a lot of local festivals that have music, and we set up a booth and we just tell people who we are, what we do, and how they can come help us.
Is that how you found the teacher at Mount Vernon High School?
Mount Vernon High School, we found, in the STEM Guitar Project, we actually go into the schools and promote it. We started with the Career and Technical Education Office at the school headquarters and told them about the program. They sent out an email to all the schools, and then we started knocking on doors, and we went in talking to science teachers in those schools and principals saying, hey, we'd like you to consider picking up this program. We've done that in Fairfax. We've also done it in Arlington, Prince William counties.
So we were talking too about the fact that, you know, a lot of kids who would like to be in band or orchestra can't be because of the fees involved.
Right.
Simply there's no money, their parents can't afford the fees required to participate. And we touched just a tiny bit on the disability community and how much music has helped many in the disability community. I know a young man named Jake Sizemore who is on the autism spectrum, who is the most talented and gifted singer-musician. And for him, music and developing his love of music and his skills has helped in every other area of his school experience. But in talking about including the disability community and being inclusive, we're not necessarily looking at low-income kids or disadvantaged kids as a group of people that we need to include.
Correct, and we do. You know, there's been studies done where they'll take low-income families to very similar families with the same income and all of that, and they'll house one of them and it'll be housed in a low-income project, the other one's housed in a middle-class neighborhood, and nothing else is different. And yet the kids in the one family in the middle-class neighborhood do much better.
Right.
And it's simply because they're experiencing firsthand the variety of economic stature in this country. They're in a neighborhood where there are people with white-collar jobs and blue-collar jobs and executive jobs, and they get to meet their children, they get to see them come and go to work, they see how they don't know them. That inspires them, and that also makes it real. People don't understand. The concept of success, if you're low income, have never had much and never seen much, can be abstract.
Right.
You just, you know, it's like, yeah, sure, I can be a doctor, right.
When they've never experienced
When they've never
anyone.
experienced and that's never been humanized to them. Those professions have never been humanized. The people that do them have never been humanized to them. And you just have to break that down. It's just that's why our programs have been so successful, because we send people who are well off, relative, and they go into their neighborhoods or they go into their schools, and we just talk with them as we're doing things. So, oh yeah, you can do this, and I do that. Yeah, and I fell down, broke my nose doing that. But you humanize yourself, even though you're right now at a much more successful economic level than they are, and they say, God, they're just one of us.
Right. And they see the opportunities. You know, one of the things, one of the criticisms that I've heard, you know, it started out as being take your daughter to work day, and that was so that girls could see, you know, a variety of careers that maybe they didn't think that was possible for them. And then it was take your son or daughter to work day. But what that has actually created is, whether you're on the low end or the high end, all you see is what you already know. You go to where your parent works, if that's McDonald's or that's, you know, Deloitte, what you see is, this is the possibilities for me. So I think it was actually President Obama who suggested a couple of years ago that everybody should take someone else's child to work.
Yes.
Take someone else's child to work day, because young children need to see a variety of adult careers. And unfortunately, as you pointed out, when you live in a certain area that has a similar socioeconomic status, you don't see anything except what's around you.
Exactly.
And so it's fascinating to me that music really this program that you have hits on so many of these different things besides the music itself.
Well, you know, the advantage music, there's lots of things that will help these youth, but the advantage music has is its universal appeal. Music doesn't care about your gender, your race, your physical size, your cultural background. Everybody likes music, they listen to music, they want to play music, so you can get everybody in there together, and it sort of lets their guard down. And it helps assimilate people. It helps you develop social skills. It helps you with your discipline, with your confidence, with, you know, feeling part of something. You know, one of the important things, aspects of music school programs, is giving students that feeling of inclusion in the school community. You know, if you go to a high school or a middle school and you walk in there and you're in the English class or the math class or something, you don't identify, yay, high school ABC, I'm a math class.
Yeah.
No, I'm in the band at, I'm in the sports team at. That's what gets the kids to feel that school identity and want to be part of that school community. And that's part of what you're trying to do. As you say, that's part of this inclusion process. They have to believe that that school is there to serve them and that the whole school is available to them.
So let's think about this for a minute. So in elementary school, no matter which, Title I schools have the highest amount of students who are on free and reduced lunches, and there's some other parts to Title I schools, but they are the most economically disadvantaged schools. And so even in those poor elementary schools, everybody has music class. First, second, third, fourth grade, everybody has music once a week, everybody participates, and there is no bar of entry. If you're a student, you take music. But starting in the fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, when the opportunity opens up to pick a band instrument and to go into a band program in elementary school, I think that's where you start to see kids who say, well, I liked music class, but this is not an option for me.
Correct.
And then it follows them right into middle school and high school. So if you don't have an opportunity to start a band program in elementary school, what's the likelihood you'll do one in middle school? And by high school, if you haven't done it earlier than that, what are the chances? What are the chances?
You're too far behind.
You're too far behind.
Exactly. I mean, and I've heard people describe that as just a cruel process to take a young child and put them in school and show them the possibilities of music, and then they say, great, I'm hooked, and now it comes the hand, okay, now pay me.
Yeah.
You have to pay to go further, and the price goes up in middle school, and it really goes up at the high school level. So yeah, you're exactly right, and we try to fight that. That's what our programs are meant to do. Our programs are all totally free if you are low income.
That's fantastic.
Your musical instruments, your music lessons, your STEM, your guitar kits to build and STEM guitar program, they're all free if you're low income.
And that's, to me, what is so exceptional about your program, because this is really hands-on in the classroom, one child at a time.
Right.
One child at a time.
Exactly.
And what about your volunteers who actually go in and do private lessons in the high school? So you've got somebody who can teach oboe, you've got somebody who can teach clarinet. Where do you find these volunteers? I mean, I know you say you go to musical events and festivals, but somebody who's stepping up to commit to teach somebody.
We go out and we contact local orchestras in any place. We go to George Mason University School of Music. We're partnered with Levine Music. We're partnered with Music Link Foundation, Potomac Arts Academy at George Mason University, Hungry for Music. We're tied in with everyone who's trying to provide and educate people in music. And through them, they help us, they identify people, we contact them, we go to, there's associations all these teachers belong to, and we advertise in them and so forth. And
so you're saying that a college student at Mason would be an eligible volunteer?
Sure.
To teach private lessons?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because some of them are that good. They're learning, and some of them are going to be music teachers. They're studying to be music teachers in schools. In our guitar program in the neighborhoods, we use high school kids, juniors and seniors, who play guitar as assistant teachers.
That's amazing.
Because they can relate to the kids a whole lot better than us old guys.
Well, yeah, and
we don't even recognize the name of the song they're saying they want to learn how to play.
Right. So that's amazing. So if you have high school students that are doing some of these classes in like the neighborhoods, you said you go into communities or neighborhoods. There's a lot of apartment buildings and complexes where you have a density of people.
Correct.
I know that Girls on the Run mentioned they're starting to do their programs there too for the same reason. So doing outreach to high school students, I'm assuming that some of them who are familiar with the program in their own high schools become aware of the fact that you're doing this outside the high school setting.
Yes.
And of course, in Fairfax County, I know that they have to do a certain number of community service hours.
And that's why they join us.
Ah, there you go. So two birds with one stone.
Correct.
They do something they enjoy, they do it for people who need their skills, and they check off the box for community service.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. So going forward, how do you see the program growing? How many schools can you serve? How are you going to scale what you're already doing?
Well, we're serving a little over 800 kids a year right now. Most of them are still in the guitar program, the after-school guitar program out in the neighborhoods. We did, in their first year, we did like 30 in the band and orchestra program. We have 3 middle schools that we're doing in Fairfax County and 1 high school.
Wow.
We're at Whitman Middle School down in the south part of the county, down there. It feeds Mount Vernon.
Okay.
We're in Herndon Middle School.
Oh, that's great.
At the other end, we're in Holmes Middle School in this area. We're also in Annandale High School, and we're reaching out to other schools and in other counties, but we're reaching out to other schools to work with us on this, to go in and advertise the program and try to get some of their low-income kids to sign up for our lessons.
So if we've got music teachers out there or principals out there or parents out there who are like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard of, what would be the process for any of those people to engage with your organization?
Just call or email me.
Call or email you.
That's it. That's all they have to do.
So would you like to give us your phone number and your email address?
Sure. Well, the email is just my name, skip.chaples@musicforlife.org.
Terrific.
Phone number is 703-644-1311.
Fantastic. And because I think as the school year starts, and you know, we're starting earlier this year, August
Right.
28th
Yep.
instead of after Labor Day, this is something, you know, as kids start to decide whether or not they can afford to be in a music program, or whether teachers are looking at the fact that they could be augmenting their band program
Exactly.
with volunteers, this is a great way for them to reach out
It
to
is.
you.
And as I said, we've already talked to a number of schools, so they know about us already. It's just a matter of them deciding they want to do it. I mean, it's a little bit of work on the side of the school also.
Yeah.
And they just have to decide they want to do that.
Well, I so appreciate you being here. I can't tell you how enthusiastic I am about this. I think this program is amazing. And I hope all of you think this program is amazing, because I think the more we figure out how to keep music in school and how to take children who are interested in music, no matter their ability or their income level, the better off they will be going forward. And this is what you need to know.